You guys.
Hey, Brian. Had two unrelated questions, but the first is really quick. Without giving a reason, how many assistant coaches do you expect not to be here today? And then also, what appealed to you about Reed as your third quarterback to keep around and develop, and what specific skills do you all like in him?
The first question, one, Reed. I think he's smart. I think he's done a good job learning the offense. Um, I think he's taking command of his group when he's in there. I think he's made some nice throws. And I think he's working hard and improving on a daily basis.
Coach, for years, players who are unhappy with their contract and perhaps demanding or requesting a trade would hold out. They would stay away from the team. Times have changed. Now players hold in. Xavien is unhappy but present. How do you view the hold out versus the hold in?
I guess I would say. I think Xavier's done a nice job. He's dealing with an ankle. I think he's been very supportive of his teammates. I think he's been attentive in meetings. I think you see him on the field coaching guys up, young guys. I think he's dealing with an injury we have several other players dealing with injuries, and I think he's working on a daily basis to get back. Obviously, he's an important part of this team, and he's taking things day to day, and when he gets back, we'll get him in there and get him working with his teammates. And, I think he's doing a nice job, considering his situation.
Being out there today, and do you expect him to travel with the team to Chicago?
Yeah, we're gonna walk through today. Expect X to be out there. Again, he's dealing with something. Let's call it day to day, but I know it's a walkthrough today, so I expect him to be out there. If he's we're taking things one day at a time. So as far as like who's traveling to Chicago and things like that, we expect to bring him to Chicago. But there's a lot going on here as far as COVID and injuries and things like of that nature. So I'm not, I wish I had a crystal ball and could tell you exactly who's going when and who's going to be here. But I don't. And we'll take things one day at a time. But assuming all things are, guys are healthy and guys are available, yeah, he'll be there.
Brian, could you see any scenario where you and Chris acquiesce to his trade request, or do you want him on this team, period? He will be on this team, period.
We don't want to trade X. You can write that down. So he's a very good player. He's a big part of the team. We don't want to trade him.
Have you and X, and I know you declined to discuss details of conversations, but can you share if it's true? Have you and X had any productive or positive conversations over the last week, either in your office or on the field?
Yeah, I talk to X pretty much every day. I think every conversation is productive. We've gotten into specifics of, X's and O's, contracts, things of that nature, and I think they've been productive. Like I said last week, I think we're moving in the right direction, and we'll just continue to keep talking to him and his representation, and again, I think we want these things to happen quickly. They want them to happen right now. But some things take time, and we'll work through it and hopefully come to the best resolution for all sides.
You said you don't want to trade X, but given the caliber of player he is, have other teams called to ask if you're willing to trade him?
Look, we keep all that internal. Calls we make, calls teams make to us. It's kind of common courtesy, just to keep those things in-house, internal, confidential. Not talk about what other people are asking for from our end, or what we're talking to other people about. And that's kind of how we want to operate. Again, I think it's just common courtesy.
I'll Last one on X. I'm curious if you can share anything about what message, if any, you have delivered to the group, okay, about the X situation. I mean, they know what's going on. They're not oblivious to this. So have you addressed it with the group?
I mean, I think, you hear these guys talk. They're very supportive of X. I think that's, he's a very good teammate. There's relationships that have been built, over the last, since I've been here and longer in some instances. Look, he's supportive of his teammates. He does a good job in meetings. He's helped these young guys. He's supportive of everyone: offense, defense, special teams. He answers the questions of the young rookies and young players. I think it's I think everyone understands that the situation, but things have gone fairly smoothly from our standpoint.
I had one more question on X. Of course, as you pointed out to us during June, it's an unusual thing for a guy to ask for change in his contract 2 years after signing a long-term extension. That said, have you and Chris sitting in a room, while not prying, have you and Chris sitting in a room said to yourself, let's just do a little something, a nice gesture for him, just to make the player happy since he was really good last year, and just to put this behind us, let's do a little something contractually for him?
Not prying.
So Brian hasn't said that, but Chris has said that?
Not prying. Well, I'll say this. Last week, I stood up here, and I've said it again. Talks are progressing. I'm not going to get into the details of those conversations, but talks are progressing. You take for that what you want. And, again, this isn't – so these things, they take time. But as long as the lines of communication are open, as long as, everyone's willing to compromise, then, we can get something done.
Thanks for being a good sport on all
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
No
you.
Noah Igbenogany, for a long time, you and the coaches have described him as and I hope this isn't a trigger word or a negative connotation, a developmental player. Okay, I hope that word doesn't set you off, please.
No,
Not fully
we're all
formed.
developing. I'm developing. None of us are.
But what are the things that he does need to start to form pretty quickly in his team?
I mean, I think we're all developing. I think when you're a rookie, a first, second-year player, third-year player, 10th-year player, there's always something you can improve and get better at. I think that's the case with Noah. I think he's working hard. I think he's doing all the right things in the meetings and the walkthroughs, and we just need to continue to work on the techniques, the fundamentals, believe in the techniques and the fundamentals, apply those techniques and fundamentals in practice, and I think over time he'll have success and he'll get better, and we're just trying to make incremental improvements on a daily basis. I think that's the case for all of us. Okay, players, coaches, support staff, everyone in our building, and Noah's no different. He's got more of obviously a spotlight on him than some other people, but he's working hard, and if he keeps working the way he's working, he'll make improvement.
Brian, how close are Will Fuller, Jalen Phillips, and Van Ginkel to being able to do individual or team drills again, do you think? Day
to day. Every day they're getting better, or I should say every day they're working to improve and get better, and I would say they're all getting better. I know you guys want me to say it's day to day or week to week, but I just take things one day at a time, so everything's day to day to me. Just so I know you asked that last week. So those guys are working to get better on a daily basis, and that's all we can really ask of them. So get your treatment, get up, get your treatment, get more treatment. Get in the hot tub, get in the cold tub, work out, work on your conditioning, do a good job in the meetings, and they'll get out there as soon as they can. They want to be out there.
I know you guys are cross-training people on the offensive line at this point, but at what point do you worry about chemistry development? And also, I would like an update on Solomon Kinley, who was working with third team the last time we watched practice. Where is he in his progression in terms of what you need to see from him?
I think there's a lot of competition in that room. I think you've seen guys work with the ones, with the twos, with the threes. Solomon's, actually a guy who's worked with the ones, with the twos, with the threes. But again, like I've said, numerous times, it doesn't really matter where what group you're with. It's, is your, from alignment, assignment, responsibility, a technique, fundamental. Are you doing the right things? And that's for each player. And that's really what we're looking for, and that's what's being evaluated. So it doesn't matter what group you're in. Are you taking care of business when with the reps that you have? As far as the team chemistry or chemistry along the offensive line, I think it's very important. Very valid question. Something that we don't take for granted at all. At some point, we'll kind of narrow this thing down to, let's call it 5, 6, 7 guys, because we got to have at least 7, 8 guys at the game, and whatever for 5 of that group has to have the chemistry you need to be an effective offensive line. So there'll always be some moving parts. I know, I think we all like to say, hey, it's just 5 guys and let them play and let them work. But again, I think Barry asked us the other day, we got to get some other guys in there too, so that chemistry with the 6th lineman, the 7th lineman, there's not a big drop off, because inevitably that's going to happen. So if you want to see all 5 every day for days and weeks in a row, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. I just don't think that's the best thing for the group overall. And but yeah, we're gonna narrow this down to let's call it 7, 8 guys at some point.
Good feel for 6, 7, 8.
Early on, yes. I mean, look, there's some guys who are ahead of others. I mean, that's up to this point, but we still got, the practices against Chicago will tell us a lot. The preseason games will tell us a lot. So, Ann told me you guys we're keeping score on this, but it's still early. It's still very early. But the Chicago practices that'll go a long way. The preseason games that'll go a long way, and I just think, we're not going to make a full-on evaluation or declaration of who's who until we get through that. Still early.
Where is
Still early. Still early. Still early.
Speaking of developing players, if we can go back to that for a second. Where's Derval in his development?
I think he's doing a nice job. He's having a nice camp. I think this is year 3 for him. His first year was a D lineman. We moved an offensive line after training camp. So, let's call it roughly 2 years. Training on the offensive line, I think he's made steady improvements. I would say, look, this guy is big, strong, athletic, fast. He just, I think it's the kind of football acumen and techniques, fundamentals, things of that nature. And I would say he's made significant improvement over the last 2 years. And he's gone in and done a nice job. Mental errors are down, technique's better. And, we'll just continue to see if he, continues on the trajectory that he's on, and try to build on it on a daily basis. And I think he's off to a good start, but once you start getting into day 7, 8, 9, 10, practice against Chicago, playing a game, we'll really get a good feel for what this is.
I want to ask about the running backs, especially Gaskin, how he's looked to you, and also we didn't see Malcolm Brown last practice, and Sabin Abman, how is he coming along after he was in the red jersey?
So Savon was, a little banged up. He was in a little bit, but we expect him again. He's day to day. Expect him back at some point here in the near future. You mentioned Malcolm. Yeah. He missed practice. I thought he was out there and then was modified. Okay. Well, yeah. We trying to. Maybe I'm confused on my days. I could be. It's training camp, but he's let's call him day to day also. And then I think Miles is doing a nice job. I think he's working hard. He's doing a good job in the run game, protection, catching the ball out of the backfield. I think leadership's He's just continuing to evolve as a leader as well on the team. So.
Last question.
Javon pulled off his first interception of training camp. The last practice we watched, which was Wednesday.
Training camp.
I
That's how
know.
it goes.
Where is he in his development? I know you guys were working Jason at cornerback, but is he ready for the heavy responsibility of that free safety spot?
Yeah, I would say, he's doing a lot of good things. He's smart. He's tough. It's important to him. We're asking a lot of him. Multiple positions. I think he's doing a nice job. But it's not necessarily the interception, and that's a good play and one everyone kind of sees. But it's getting guys lined up, getting himself lined up, being in the right position, being in a good position to make a last line of defense tackle. Communication with the corners, with the linebackers, down a distance situation. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that position. I think he's taken on that responsibility and been very, let's call it forthright, and tried to do a good job as far as taking on that leadership or signal caller spot, which is it's hard for a rookie. I would say to step in there and tell somebody else say what to do, but that's what the position calls for. So he's growing, he's getting better. Still a long way to go, and again, I think the next few practices, for us these next 2 days, and then or in 3 days, and then Chicago, and then the preseason game, and then we'll just try to make steady improvements. All right, thank you.